Good morning, students. Welcome you all to this online lecture series on intellectual property rights and patent system. This is the subject of your current semester. In the last lecture, we studied basic concepts related to intellectual property rights. So let's continue with previous discussion. So today in this lecture of IPR and patent system, we shall be talking about various topics related to intellectual property rights, such as nature and scope of protection of copyrights and related rights, protection of copyrights in the digital media, defense of fair use, moral rights of the author, copyright societies, and remedies for infringement of copyrights. As you see in the slide, the nature and scope of protection of copyrights and related rights covers various aspects. First of all, we must know that what is copyright. Each copyright is a right which is applicable to number of different kinds of works. Some of those are literary, dramatic, musical, or artistic work. Nowadays, the sound recording and cinematograph films are also included in this category. As you all know that, as per the Copyright Act 1957, the laws are there in India for the protection of various inventions or various artistic work. So here what I want to say is that since there are different intangible works such as scientific discoveries, industrial designs, trademarks, etc., where this law provides protection in one way or the other, so that the intellectual property of the inventor or creator can be protected. We must understood that this law provides exclusive rights to the owner of the copyright to do certain acts in relation to copyright work. For example, for copying the work or to use the copyright work in any other way, including distribution in public or renting it for the commercial purpose. In all these domains, this act provides protection. Also, this act provides safety against the electronic transmission also, where adaptation is done and the original work is copied in one way or the other. So for the unauthorized copying without the license of the owner, it is called as infringement, for which the civil and criminal liabilities can be enforced under this Copyright Act. We must keep in mind that the copyright is also described as the bundle of rights. What are these rights? These are the rights which are granted for limited period of time with respect of original literary or artistic work. So what are these works? These works can be novel writing or plays, poems, music compositions, or writings. Also the unique paintings as well as sculptures, and nowadays sound recordings and film broadcasting is also included in this domain. So in the general way, we can define copyright as the means of right to copy, properly right in the case of original work that may be of any field explained above. So the copyright holder has an intellectual property that prevents others from its unauthorized copying or distribution. so that inventors' financial rights are protected in case of breach of act. As you see in the slide, the copyright law was established long before anyone ever thought about digital media. But modifications or amendments were done time to time as per the demand of the time. So as per the latest ruling during conventions held, the Copyright Act protects original work in digital media also. Let us discuss these rules for copyright protection of digital media. Now the first question comes to our mind is that whether the works in the digital media are subject to the same copyright standard as other types of works. The answer to this question is that only original work of authorship are protected. The work must originate from author and must have some amount of creativity. Also, the work must be saved in some fixed time form that can be reproduced or communicated either by itself or with the help of some machine. This includes digital media, but we must keep in mind that an idea cannot be copyrighted. Now the second question comes to our mind is that when does copyright protection begins? Now the answer to this question is that copyright protection begins as soon as the work has been created or fixed in some tangible medium. In general, the copyright lasts for the lifetime of the author. It is up to the 70 years or till the author's death. Now the third question is that whether digital media rights are protected by copyright. Before answering, we must keep in mind that the copyright is actually a group of rights, also called as bundle of rights. This means the copyright owner has the exclusive right to make copies. He can sell or distribute it, or he can publicly display his work. Also, as per the recent amendments in the case of sound recordings, so there is also right to perform the work publicly with the help of digital audio transmission. Since due to technological advancements, the copyright in digital media is a rapidly evolving area. So the laws are needed to be framed as per the changing nature of the time, so the people can access or transmit information as per the law. Now the fourth question is that which type of digital media are protected by copyright? There are many types of digital media that are protected by copyright. Some of those are digital artwork, photographs, digitally created music, sound recordings of the music, spoken words or sounds. This act also provides protection in case of motion pictures, and also it provides protection against digital video recordings or software programs. Nowadays, the website and website contents are also being protected. Now the fifth question is that what are the reasons due to which one should register a copyright? Now the registration of the copyright in anyone's digital creation has several advantages, and some of those are: the registration creates a record of your copyright ownership. After registration of the copyright, the protection is provided in case of copyright infringement. And the third reason is that after the publication of the work, if infringement occurs, one may recover his financial damages as per the copyright laws. So there is no financial loss of one's efforts or inventions. As you see in the slide, the fair use means the copying of copyrighted material done for a limited and transformative purpose. So, what is the meaning of that? This generally is applicable in case of some review, criticism, or parody of the copyrighted work. In most cases, it is done without the permission from the copyright owner. In other words, we can say that the fair use provides a defense which provides protection against a claim of copyright infringement to the other peoples also. So if we use the material as per the fair use definition, then it would not be considered as infringement. As you see in the slide, the fair use falls into two categories: the commentary and criticism, or parody. The commentary and criticism part says that if someone is reviewing some copyrighted work through comments or criticism, then it is safe. This generally happens in the case of writing a book review, where the general people benefits from your review. The second classification of fair use is parody, which says that if someone is making the use of some original work in comic way, then it is also exempted from the copyright infringement. So we can say that as per this fair law policy, in the case of copyrights, the use of original work is permitted in a parody in order to bring up the original. Let's move to the next slide. As you see in the slide, there are various moral rights of the author. Let us discuss this in detail here. In most general sense, the moral rights are based on the concept that a literary or artistic work reflects the personality of the creator. Because the artistic work is that which reflects the author's creative impulse, which are of some value to the society. So the artist provides an important service to the society. So in keeping these aspects of artistic life, moral rights are framed as per the copyright law. So we can say that copyright is a form of intellectual property protection granted under law to the creator, which has done some original work of the authorship. His creation can be some literary work also. As per the Berne Conventions held, the moral rights required to be protected. They consider copyright to be more of a personal right of the author who has done some work, so that credit can be given to him for his intellectual effort and creativity. The moral rights are only recognized for visual works and not for literary or musical works. As you see on the slide, there are several moral rights of the authors. These are the right to create a work, a right to publish a work, a right to withdraw or a published work from a sale, a right to prevent excessive criticism of a work, a right to prevent any other violation of the author's personality, the right of paternity and the right of integrity. Now these last two are very important. In India, the moral rights also include right of integrity and right of paternity as moral rights. The right of paternity provides the copyright owner a right to claim authorship of the work, and the right of integrity gives the owner the right to prevent any distortion of the work which would be potentially harmful to the reputation of the owner of the right holder. So the moral rights are considered part of the law for the protection against defamation. It maintains the standings of the authors and the reputation according to the law. Now let's move to the next slide. Copyright societies. Now what is copyright society? The concept of copyright society is based on the fact that there is a need of protection of copyrights in the works. The main objective of copyright society is that it can issue or grant licenses in respect of any work which is covered by Copyright Act. So how these societies are constituted? These societies are constituted for managing of performing rights as per Copyright Act of the country. Now what are the parameters which are there in favor of these societies? These copyright societies, because of their organizational facilities and strength, are able to keep a better check over the works which are being carried out throughout the country, because the authors must be given due royalties and benefits for whatever the work they have done. So these societies are framed to track record of the proceedings of various artworks or discoveries. Now, because of countries' membership in international conventions, the copyright societies are able to ensure better protection to the copyright work at both national and international level also. In India, a copyright society is a registered collective administration society as per the Copyright Act 1957. Such a society is formed by authors and other owners. Now what is the minimum membership? The minimum membership required for registration of a society is 7. The registration granted to a copyright society is generally for a period of 5 years and may be renewed from time to time, but it should be before the end of the 5 years as per the law. So what we can say that only one society is registered to do business in respect of the same class of work. There are many registered copyright societies in India. Some of those are IRRO, Indian Reprographic Rights Organization, IPRS, Indian Performing Rights Organization, PPL India, Phonographic Performance Limited India, to name a few. Now let's move to the next slide. Remedies for infringement of copyrights. We know that the copyright infringement occurs when there is unauthorized use of the exclusive rights of the owner of a copyright. Here we must keep in mind that this also covers the displaying in public for trading purpose, which leads to infringement. As you see in the slide, there are 3 types of remedies for infringement of copyrights which are provided by Copyright Act. These are civil remedies, criminal remedies, and border enforcement. The civil remedies covers various aspects such as damages, delivery and destruction of infringing copies. It also covers the damages which are occurred for conversion. Thus, criminal remedies are provided for imprisonment, fines, seizure of infringing copies, and banning of unauthorized distribution. And the last one, the border enforcements are provided for various aspects such as prohibition of imports. This also includes the destruction of imported goods that are infringed and are against the Copyright Act. So let's move to the next slide. So this was all about the copyright and related rights. In the next lecture, we shall study various topics under the broad heading of design rights. So these topics are nature and scope of protection of design rights, protection of layout designs, which includes topographies of integrated circuits, protection of undisclosed information, protection of trademarks, domain names, and geographical indications. Thank you.